Hi guys, David Stone here we're in the middle of COVID, right? And here I am working out of a spare bedroom instead of a well put together studio, which I like to have. We've got all this sort of cobbled together equipment instead of proper lighting and all the rest of it. But what the heck, we're here, and it's about growth, and it's about the content and the things that I want to share with you. So what I want to talk about today is frankly aging. I hear people tell me, I'd love to do such and such, I'd love to start this thing, but it's too late. I'm too old for that. And I just want to address that because I can't believe that people would say I'm too old to do, frankly, anything at all. I love the idea. I mean, my personal story is when I was 55, life finally gave me this smack in the side of the head with a 2x4. And life likes to do that to us when we're not paying attention to what we should be doing and what our soul is compelling us to do. If we're ignoring all that, life eventually comes around and says, hey, pay attention. There's something important here for you. And sometimes it's a heart attack, or sometimes it's an injury, or sometimes it's a major, a divorce or whatever. For me, I find at 55 years of age, suddenly found myself homeless. And I'm living in my car. And I'm thinking, how did this happen? Here I am, I've got a career and I'm making money and I've got a reputation all over the country and the continent and even in the world. And how did this happen? I'm smarter than this. But the world was, the universe, whatever you want to call it, God came along and said, hey, David, you're not paying attention to what you should be doing. And so it would be very easy to say, well, I'm too old for changing. But no, you got no choice. And that was one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I woke up and I finally realized what I'm supposed to be doing. And I got on with it and made big, big changes in my life. And it has been so wonderful ever since. And so, most people would say at 55, no, sorry, my time's done, I'm washed up. One of my biggest inspirations in my life was my dad. My dad he was born in 1917. He at 16 years of age, and he had two sisters, but his father died when he was 16 years of age. And back then, and this was in the middle of the Depression, and back then he had to come out of high school. He quit school in the middle of high school because he had a mother and two sisters that had to be supported. There was no welfare. There was no safety nets or anything. So he quit school and went to work and supported them. And then he was in the Navy during the Second World War. And so he comes out, and then he gets married and starts having a family. And I was one of 5 kids. And he was a telephone repairman and working for the telephone company. And I remember very clearly in 1967, I'm sorry, he was making $6,500 a year. That was his annual salary for a family of 7, 5 kids, 2 adults, $6,500 a year. And he never complained or anything, but he hated his job. He hated it with a passion. And finally, between him and my mom, they said, we're going to do something about this. And what he did is he went back. He took a year or a couple of years and went back. And in those days, there was no online courses or anything, but there was correspondence courses. And he took these correspondence courses and got his high school diploma. And after he'd done that, he quit his job. Now, he did this all while he was still working. But then he quit his job and took an entire year. That was a lean year. I remember it very well. But anyway, he quit and he went to college and got his teaching certificate. And he became a high school teacher. And he taught, technical subjects. He taught auto mechanics and shop and I remember small engine repair. And he absolutely loved it. And of course, his salary went way up from what he'd been. And he just loved it. He loved working with the students. But he was 50 years old when he started that, when he decided this isn't going to work anymore. He quit his job with a family of 7 people at age 50 to go back to school. And it was so worthwhile for him. You know, I hear people say, I couldn't do that. I couldn't go back to school. Do you know how old I'd be by the time I graduated? I heard one person say this to me regularly. And the answer is, yeah, you'll be exactly the same age as you would be if you didn't ever go back to school. But you'd be so much further ahead. You'd be so much more satisfied. You'd challenge yourself. You'd grow. You'd still be the same age that you were, but you'd have grown so much, and you'd think of the self-esteem that you built. My wife, Gail, when she always wanted to be a novelist. Right from when she was a little girl, she was writing novels, when she was just a little girl and a teenager. But she got directed, wise people who knew were smarter than her, saying, oh, you can't make a living as a novelist. You can't write for a living. You got to get a sensible thing. So she went into journalism and had a wonderful, very successful career as a journalist. But still there was that flame inside her that she wanted to pursue. And so when she was age 57, 58, she said, that's it, I'm going back to university. And she got her master's degree in fine arts and creative writing. And she graduated. And it was so exciting, that graduation day. I'll never forget it. She's walking across the stage with her cap and gown, 60 years old. Yeah, that's great. This I-Fearless, I started it when I was 65 years old. And I've never been more happy in my entire life because I'm doing what I love to do. It is never too late. You are never too old. Even if you got like 2 days left in your life, you don't know none of us know when we're going to go. But if you've got 2 days, if you've got 2 hours, there's still time to do something that you'll love. Don't say that it's too late for you. Dive in, take that chance, live fearlessly. So there's my message for you today. It is never too late. You are never too old to try something that your soul is compelling you to do. What's your soul compelling you to do? Answer that question today and then take some kind of action in that direction, all right? Go for it. You're not too old. All right, guys, I'll see you again tomorrow. In the meantime, live fearlessly.